Have you ever felt like no matter how much you give, it's never quite enough to be seen, to be valued, to be understood? You try, you keep showing up, but the world keeps moving, and you're left wondering if your effort even matters. That quiet ache inside you, it's not weakness. It's your soul asking for something real. Not recognition, but meaning. Not applause, but direction. This isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about rising from within. In this journey, Stoicism isn't a shield. It's a compass. And the only way forward? Focus on you. Until the day the world has no choice but to notice. Lesson 1. Build your strongest self daily. Every morning offers a quiet chance to begin again, not with grand declarations, but with a single question. Who am I choosing to be today? Before the noise begins, before anyone demands anything of you, you have a moment of power. And it's in that moment, not in motivation, not in praise, that the strongest version of you is built. The Stoics believed that character is not made in crisis, it's revealed by it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others, strict with yourself." Not out of harshness, but out of commitment. True strength isn't about appearing invincible. It's about being trustworthy to yourself, especially when no one's watching. Think of a soldier who folds his blanket each morning, not for inspection, but because discipline begins in the smallest acts. Or a writer who sits down daily to put words on the page, even when inspiration is absent. These are not habits for show. They are quiet declarations of identity. You don't need to move mountains. Start with 5 minutes of stillness, one promise kept. One act aligned with who you want to become. Stack those choices, brick by brick, until one day your life reflects a structure no storm can shake. And tomorrow you lay the next brick, because this is your foundation, and it begins now. Lesson 2. Train your mind to ignore the noise. You wake up with good intentions. Maybe today you'll focus, move forward, reclaim your rhythm. But before you even get out of bed, the world barges in. Notifications, headlines, messages pulling your attention in a dozen directions. And without realizing it, your energy is gone before the day even begins. The Stoics warned us that the enemy is rarely loud. It's subtle. It slips in through distraction, not disaster. Marcus Aurelius asked, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" Most of what we give our attention to isn't harmful. It's simply irrelevant. And what's irrelevant slowly robs you of clarity, purpose, and peace. A story goes that a young entrepreneur refused to check his phone before noon. During those hours, he said, "I don't exist to the world. I exist only to the work." He built not just a business, but a calm, focused mind, immune to digital chaos. You don't need to disappear. You need discipline. Try 25 minutes with one task. No phone, no background noise, just presence. Do this a few times a day, and your mind will remember its strength. Because focus isn't just about productivity, it's about becoming someone who lives by intention, not reaction. And once you reclaim your attention, you're ready to reclaim your path. Lesson 3. Keep fighting when no one believes. Have you ever carried a dream so vivid it felt like fire in your chest, but no one around you could see the flame? You try to explain, to share the vision, but their eyes glaze over. They don't mock you outright, but the silence is louder than words. That's when the real test begins. Not when you're doubted by others, but when you're tempted to doubt yourself. The Stoics called this the proving ground. A space where your strength isn't praised, it's questioned. Where every step forward feels like you're walking alone through fog, with only your belief to light the way. Epictetus once said, If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because until your results speak, your silence must hold. Think of Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, surrounded by soldiers, senators, and storms of war, yet he wrote meditations not for glory, but to keep his soul intact. Or Edison, who endured failure 1,000 times before the light finally stayed on. They weren't supported, they were dismissed, but they persisted, not because others believed, but because they refused to betray their inner fire. That's the essence of fighting when no one believes. It's knowing the world follows proof, not possibility. Most people walk paths already paved, but you're building yours with every step. So track your journey, document the rejections, record your small wins, finishing a course, saying no to a distraction, waking up on time for 30 days. Stack these quiet victories like bricks, because when doubt creeps in, you won't need motivation. You'll have evidence, and still you'll face the crowd. Not hostile, but conforming. They'll want you to play safe, not out of malice, but because your courage reminds them of their fear. But you weren't meant for comfort. You're here to walk the harder path. To live not by applause, but by alignment. So tonight, ask yourself, what did I do today that honored the path I chose? Write it down. Remind yourself, I am not waiting for belief. I am building it. And as we continue, there's one more truth you must face, showing up for yourself, especially when no one else will. Lesson 4. Show up for yourself every day. Have you ever waited for the right mood before doing something important, telling yourself, I'll start when I feel ready, but the day passes, the feeling never comes, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin to postpone your life? The Stoics would call this the greatest lie of modern living, the belief that action must follow emotion, that discipline depends on energy. But Marcus Aurelius wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Not a machine, not a superhero, just a person who chooses to show up. True strength doesn't appear in moments of motivation. It's built in silence, on the days you don't want to rise, but you do. In the rain, in the noise, in the tired hours when the world looks the other way. That's when your character is quietly forged. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadow of routine. I remember a young man who was rebuilding his life after addiction. He wasn't trying to do anything spectacular, just wake up, stretch, and write one honest line in his journal. For 30 days, he showed up for himself. By the end, he didn't just stay sober. He saw himself as someone worth trusting again, not because of grand change, but because of daily presence. So, here's the practice. Choose one action, small but steady. Link it to a time. A 10-minute journal at 6:30 a.m., a phone shut off at 9 p.m. Make it non-negotiable. Each checkmark becomes a quiet signal to yourself. I show up even when no one's watching. And when you slip, and you will, don't shame yourself. Ask why. Adjust. Recommit. That's the Stoic way, not perfection. Persistence. If you want to go deeper, try this. Write down the kind of person you want to become. Then ask yourself each night, did I act like that person today? If not, why not? If yes, how did it feel? This self-dialogue isn't fluff, it's armor. Because the day you stop showing up for yourself is the day you start abandoning who you're meant to be. And once you've built this daily rhythm, you'll face a more subtle danger, distraction disguised as harmless moments. That's what we'll confront next. Lesson 5. Eliminate distractions that drain focus. Have you ever reached the end of the day and wondered where all your time went, only to realize you gave it away? One notification, one scroll, one small distraction at a time. It doesn't feel like sabotage, but it is. The thief of your future doesn't knock on your door. It buzzes in your pocket. It whispers, "Just 5 minutes," then vanishes with your best hours. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less." But he didn't mean laziness. He meant doing what truly matters and doing it with presence, because every task that doesn't align with your purpose is noise. And the more you let in, the more your vision blurs. The danger isn't that you're incapable. It's that you've never stayed focused long enough to see how capable you truly are. There's a parable about a young writer who spent months trying to finish a book. Each morning she'd sit down, coffee in hand, intent on writing, but before she typed a word, she'd check her phone, emails, group chats, headlines. By the time her mind quieted, the energy was gone, so she changed one thing. She gave herself one sacred hour. No phone, no tabs, just her and the page. Within 3 months, the book was done. Not because she became more talented, but because she removed what didn't belong. Your mind is a blade. Distraction dulls it. But with stillness, it sharpens. Start simple. Clear your space. Silence your phone. Block 1 hour daily for deep work. Track your distractions in a matrix. How valuable is this task? How addictive is it? Then cut out what's both low in value and high in pull. Most of your fatigue isn't from effort, it's from divided attention. Guard your mind like a fortress. Not everything or everyone deserves entry. As the Stoics taught, self-mastery begins with self-governance. Eliminate the excess, and you'll begin to see what you were always capable of building. And once your focus returns, so does your power. Which leads us to the next truth. If you want to reclaim your life, you must be the one who takes the wheel. Lesson 6. Own your life, no excuses. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why does everyone else seem to move forward while I stay stuck? You look around and the world seems to flow past you, faster, smoother, somehow more aligned. And when frustration builds, there's always a convenient target. Your boss, your parents, society, the past. You start telling yourself a familiar story. If only they had helped, believed, supported, things would be different. But deep down, you know the truth. Blame doesn't move your life forward. It only keeps you in place. Stoicism draws a sharp line in the sand. Control what you can, release what you can't. And the moment you decide to take full ownership of your responses without needing perfect circumstances or perfect people, that's when your life quietly shifts. You go from reacting to shaping, from waiting to building. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's not just philosophy. It's a daily decision. There's a story from Navy SEAL training. A young soldier made a costly mistake in a mission simulation, and he expected the leader to call out someone else. But Jocko Willink, the commander, stepped forward and said, "It's my fault. I am responsible." No finger pointing, no excuses. That one moment shifted the culture of the entire team. Responsibility, once modeled, became contagious. Later, Jocko would call this mindset extreme ownership, and it would influence not just military circles but CEOs and leaders worldwide. You don't need to be in combat to live this truth. Try this. The next time something disappoints you, pause. Notice the sentence forming in your head. If it ends with someone else's name, flip it. Ask, what could I have done differently? Not to punish yourself, but to reclaim your power. Keep a control matrix. One column for what's yours, one for what's not. Focus only on the first. That's where change begins. Each excuse you replace with action is a signal. I'm done waiting. You're no longer drifting, you're driving. And while that doesn't guarantee easy days, it gives you something more important: self-respect. But there's one more thing you'll need for the road ahead: a steady fuel source when your belief fades. And that's where we'll go next, where discipline becomes energy, where willpower becomes fire. Lesson 7. Push harder when you want to quit. There's a moment we all meet in silence, when your chest is tight, your energy's low, and your mind whispers the same question over and over: should I keep going? You're not lazy for asking it, you're honest. Because when you're chasing something that matters, there will come a point where motivation dies and only your will remains. And it's right there, in the quiet edge of giving up, that transformation begins. The Stoics taught us to accept what we cannot control and to endure what we can. Seneca said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And continuing, especially when everything inside says stop, is courage. It's training the mind to stay calm in the storm. Not through force, but through a choice, to keep walking when it would be easier to collapse. I remember watching a mountain rescue team begin a climb during a violent storm in Nepal. Visibility was low, wind biting through layers of gear. Someone asked, "Why not wait?" One of the men replied, "Because if we wait, they might not survive, and we don't climb for comfort." They didn't push forward because they felt strong. They pushed because someone was counting on them not to stop. That's what real endurance looks like: devotion, not ego. Here's what most people don't know: the urge to quit is temporary. Science shows it often peaks for about 15 minutes. Ride that wave and you break the pattern. Use emotion opposite action. Stand when you want to sit. Read when you want to scroll. Move when you feel frozen. Recall a moment you once endured. Write down 3 words that describe who you were then. Read them when doubt creeps in. You're not weak for feeling tired, but you become stronger every time you choose one more breath, one more page, one more step. Try this tonight. Write down the last moment you didn't give up. Then comment below with 2 words: still fighting. And if this message helped you find even a flicker of energy to keep going, subscribe for the next one, because tomorrow's lesson will teach you how to trust the process, especially when results are nowhere to be seen. Lesson 8. Trust the process without proof. Have you ever worked hard for weeks, maybe months, and still felt like nothing is changing? That eerie silence after effort, the kind that makes you question everything. Am I wasting time? Is this even working? You're not alone. Most people don't give up because they're lazy. They give up because results didn't arrive fast enough to quiet their doubts. In those moments, they abandon not just the process, but a version of themselves they never gave the chance to exist. The Stoics remind us, don't attach your peace to outcomes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not expect the world to reward your virtues. Virtue is the reward. What you do with intention and integrity, even if invisible now, is never wasted. Like bamboo that spends years growing underground roots before it ever breaks the surface, true progress happens where no eye can see. The problem isn't the lack of growth. It's the lack of patience to let it unfold." Consider James Dyson, the inventor of the bagless vacuum. He failed over 5,000 times before one model finally worked. That wasn't failure. It was the process refining itself. Or think of a writer who shows up every morning typing 500 words in silence, unnoticed by the world. 1 year later, that's a book, but only if they don't stop. The brain needs repetition to rewire habits. Neuroscience confirms that new behaviors take time to embed, often weeks before becoming natural and longer before results show. That's why your first tool isn't talent, it's presence. Track your efforts. Did you show up today? Did you move forward, even 1 inch? Use checklists to stay accountable not to outcome, but to your role in the journey. When the destination feels far, zoom in. Focus on what can be done today, this week, this month. The future is built in blocks of consistent small actions, and the reward isn't just the result, it's who you become in the waiting. Because the ones who win are never the fastest. They're the ones who keep showing up long after most stopped looking for proof. And when your patience is solid, your vision becomes unstoppable. That's where we go next, learning to hold the vision when no one else can see it but you. Lesson 9. Hold the vision until you win. It's easy to hold your vision when life goes your way, when progress is visible, praise is loud, and the path feels smooth. But vision wasn't made for those days. It was made for the mornings when you don't want to get up. For the nights you sit in silence asking yourself, is this all for nothing? In those hours, vision is no longer a dream. It becomes your lifeline, not something you think about when inspired, but something you protect even when everything inside you wants to let go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Vision is not just about setting goals. It is about living in alignment with a truth so deep that even failure cannot shake it. It's not a hobby or a trend. It's the way you breathe, think, decide. A Stoic doesn't pursue results. They pursue the right path, and they follow it as if there is no other. But staying loyal to a long-term vision is hard when the world constantly tempts you with comfort. Psychology calls it temporal discounting, trading the future for momentary relief. One scroll, one cheat meal, one skipped habit, and over time, those trades chip away at the structure you're trying to build. That's why vision must be ritualized. It must return to you each morning like a vow you've made with yourself. Take Master Awa Kenzo, the Japanese archer who practiced in solitude for years, not for medals, but for mastery. Every draw of the bow was not performance, it was devotion. He said, "Archery is not technique, it is a way." That's what vision looks like when it becomes your identity. To hold your vision, you need anchors. One action every day that proves you're still aligned. A writer might write 500 words daily, even when uninspired. A leader might reflect every Friday on the week's integrity. These small acts are not about productivity, they're about staying true. Even when you drift, and you will, it's not the drift that defines you, it's whether you realize it and return. Vision isn't about perfection, it's about discipline, and discipline lived long enough becomes unshakable direction. So if you've made it this far and still feel something inside you calling to be lived, don't ignore it, clarify it, protect it. Choose one small act today that says, "I remember who I am." Because next, we'll face what happens when you fall, how to rise with more strength than before. Lesson 10. Rise every time you fall. There are days when the fall doesn't make a sound. No outburst, no visible collapse, just a slow fading of the self. You stop caring, you stop showing up. The things that once moved you now feel distant. And when someone asks, "Are you okay?" the truth is, you're not even sure what that means anymore. This kind of fall is quiet, but it's real, and it leaves a weight on your chest heavier than any storm. The Stoics never promised immunity from this. They didn't pretend resilience meant perfection. They simply taught us to never let the fall become our identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper saying, "Just get up." Often, collapse doesn't come from one big failure, but from drifting, living on autopilot, losing touch with purpose. That's why rising isn't just recovery. It's a return, not to who you were, but to who you're becoming. A Stoic rise is intentional. It doesn't depend on emotion. It begins with self-honesty. Start with breath. 2 minutes, no music, no distractions, just silence. Breathe like you're making space for yourself again. Then write, not for clarity, but for confrontation. Ask, what truly caused this fall? Write until your own words answer you. The truth doesn't hurt, it liberates. Now choose 3 small actions, not big plans, just something grounded, a walk, a message, a vow, and make them yours. The brain learns through action. Every time you act despite fatigue, you build what the Stoics called prohairesis, the inner faculty of choice. You're not reacting, you're reclaiming. One filmmaker I met spent 3 silent years after failure. Everyone thought he'd disappeared, but he was studying, rebuilding. When he came back, it wasn't with applause, it was with a quiet film that won an award. Why? Because he rose not for approval, but to honor his path. Your strength doesn't need witnesses. It only needs intention, stillness, choice, and motion. That's how you rise. And rising isn't the end. It's the invitation to grow deeper, which brings us to the final step. Not just rising, but evolving, becoming someone stronger than before, someone forged by the fall. Lesson 11. Be a lifelong learner. Have you ever caught yourself nodding along to a lesson you've heard before, thinking, yeah, I already know this, and yet your life doesn't reflect it? That quiet resistance is more dangerous than ignorance. Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows, because the moment you assume you've mastered something, you stop listening, you stop seeing, and worst of all, you stop evolving." The Stoics didn't treat learning as a hobby. To them, life was a continuous field of training. Every interaction, every failure, every disappointment was a lesson in disguise. Not to impress others with knowledge, but to sharpen the sword of reason, to see clearly, to live more deliberately. When you stop learning, it's not just that you fall behind. You become trapped by your old habits, by your outdated views, by the illusion that you're already enough, when deep down, you're not growing. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. The Stoics called it inner discipline. Both say the same thing: you can change at any age, but only if you believe you still have something to learn. That belief is the door. Ego is the lock. Akio Morita, founder of Sony, was not born a visionary. He built one. After World War II, with nothing but a battered country and raw ambition, he absorbed everything: Western philosophy, market trends, and Japanese values. He made mistakes, learned, adjusted, and step by step turned a garage into an empire. Not because he was the smartest, but because he never stopped being a student. So how do you apply this today? Start with what hurts, what frustrates you, confuses you, holds you back. Don't study everything. Study that. Find one idea, one tool, and apply it relentlessly. Then reflect. Ask, what did I learn today that humbled me? That question alone can change your life. Lifelong learners aren't walking encyclopedias. They're people who are brave enough to say, I was wrong. They don't chase knowledge to feel superior. They pursue it to become lighter, clearer, more aligned. And as your mind opens, something deeper begins to shift. your relationships. Because the path of learning eventually leads not just to wisdom, but to connection, and that's where we go next. Lesson 12. Build bonds that lift you. As you grow stronger, the silence grows too, not because you've pushed people away, but because growth quietly rewrites your life's terms. The old jokes don't land. The same company starts to drain you. The conversations that once felt warm now feel empty. And you wonder, am I becoming too different, or just finally becoming myself? The Stoics understood that solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Not people who always agree with you, but those who respect your direction, even if it challenges theirs." The truth is, your environment either nourishes your strength or subtly undermines it. You are never neutral. Think of a fire team in the military. Each member isn't chosen just for skill, but for reliability under pressure. When things fall apart, it's not charm or personality that matters. It's trust. In elite circles, one weak link isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. And in life, the same applies. A relationship that constantly sows doubt, invites distraction, or keeps you small isn't neutral. It's subtracting from your future. I once knew a startup founder who had talent, drive, and vision. But his co-founder thrived on chaos, unkept promises, ego games, and last-minute changes. They failed, not because the product was flawed, but because the partnership was. A good bond doesn't just share wins, it shares pressure, clarity, and accountability. So how do you know who belongs in your life now? Track 1 week of your emotional responses. After each interaction, ask yourself, did this person pull me forward or hold me still? Some friendships survive on nostalgia alone. Others feel new but reveal your better self. The brave move isn't cutting everyone off, it's curating with purpose. Less noise, more signal. And when you do find those rare people who sharpen you, who challenge, support and steady you, don't take them for granted. A wise connection is a silent multiplier. The right bond doesn't fix your life. It helps you stay loyal to it. But even with the best circle, storms will come. And when they do, your next source of strength must come from somewhere deeper. Not from who stands beside you, but from what you stand upon. That's where presence and gratitude return you to solid ground. Lesson 13. Practice mindfulness. Have you ever woken up and felt like your day had already started without you? Like your thoughts were hijacked before you even had the chance to breathe? One text, one headline, one scroll, and suddenly you're not living your life. You're reacting to someone else's. The Stoics warned us of this drift. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." And if your attention is everywhere, your presence, your real power, is lost. Mindfulness isn't just a calming trend, it's mental warfare. In a world built to distract, choosing awareness is an act of rebellion. Marcus Aurelius believed the mind must be trained to return to itself, not through escape, but through clarity. Think of your mind as a gate. If you let everything in, noise, envy, opinions, you crowd out your own purpose. But when you begin your day with presence, with breath, with a check-in instead of a check-in box, you take back control. I once heard of an actor whose confidence crumbled under daily criticism, not from others, but from his own habit of reading negative comments first thing every morning. He lost his edge, until a friend intervened and said, "You're no longer living, you're defending." From that moment, the actor rewrote his mornings. 3 things he could control, 3 things he was grateful for. It wasn't therapy, it was reconnection. Try it. Pause, name what you feel, ask, Is this useful? If not, cut the noise. Go for a walk. Breathe before you believe every thought. Gratitude and mindfulness are not soft. They're armor, because when your attention is yours again, your path becomes clear, and from that clarity, you don't just survive. You start to lead. And in the next part, we'll explore exactly what it means to lead without trying. Lesson 14. Lead with value and purpose. Have you ever noticed how the quietest person in the room often has the strongest presence? They don't chase attention, yet people seem drawn to them, not because they speak the loudest, but because their consistency whispers something rare: stability. In a world addicted to noise, silence backed by clarity becomes magnetic. That's the paradox of true influence. When you stop trying to lead, you begin to. The Stoics never taught leadership as a position. They taught it as a posture. Marcus Aurelius asked himself daily, am I doing what needs to be done, or am I performing for others? To him, leadership was not about commanding others, but about commanding the self. Can you stay calm when criticized? Can you hold your values when no one's watching? Can you act with purpose when the world offers no reward? If the answer is yes, you're already leading, not with words, but with example. I once saw a janitor who worked the night shift in a hospital. He arrived early, wore his uniform pressed, greeted each nurse, and left each room spotless. He never raised his voice, never asked for praise. But when a new employee joined, they quietly mirrored his routine, arriving early, taking pride in their work. No speech, no training, just presence. That's leadership. Quiet, invisible, but powerful. Try this. One action a day, done mindfully, rooted in your values. Then reflect. Did it echo into someone else's behavior? If not, did it strengthen your own? Leadership isn't about visibility, it's about alignment. Be like a candle. It doesn't try to inspire, it simply burns. And sometimes that small, steady flame becomes the light that helps someone else find their way. We've just walked through 14 lessons, not drawn on paper, but etched into the soul. This wasn't a roadmap to follow someone else's footsteps. It was a return to yourself. No spotlight, no perfect timing, just the quiet strength it takes to keep showing up when no one claps, when the world moves faster than your progress. Along the way, you've faced silence, self-doubt, and moments of exhaustion. And yet, you continued. You simplified, focused, and started cutting what didn't serve your path. You stopped waiting to be rescued. You stopped outsourcing responsibility. You took the weight of your life back into your own hands. Some days were messy, others still and clear. But in each one, you chose to rise. Not for approval, but because you remember the reason you began. You've learned that growth doesn't shout. It whispers through consistency, through discipline, through presence. And one morning, without even noticing, you'll realize something has shifted. You've become the person your past self hoped you'd be. If this message touched something in you, leave a comment with the words, "Still moving." It means you're here, you're not done. And if this path speaks to you, feel free to subscribe. Not for more noise, but for reminders that help you stay grounded in what matters. The next lesson awaits, and you're exactly where you need to be. Keep going.